Before I even make my first point, you need to know that you're right smack dab in the middle of a war. Right here in this church, whether you're saved or whether you're lost, whether you've given your life to Christ, whether you've strayed away from your walk with Christ, you're right smack dab in the middle of a war. This is the war zone. When you leave this place, you're still in the war zone. So what do? How do you fight? How do you fight a war you can't see? Notice with me two things very quickly about how to fight this war. Number one, you've got to stay plugged in to the power supply. You've got to stay plugged in to the power supply. Look at verse 10. He says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in what, church? The power of His might. We've got to stay plugged in to the power supply. I've got a cell phone up here. I don't usually bring it with me, but I brought it with me this morning. My cell phone can do almost anything except prepare me breakfast in the morning. That's about all it can't do. It's pretty handy dandy. It don't look like much, but this thing is pretty neat. One of my favorite apps, I know this may sound lame, but one of my favorite apps is the flashlight. Can everybody see that? That's one of my favorite apps. I don't have to go find a flashlight because when you got kids, things end up being missing. Especially when you got a son who likes to play with your tools. They're not my tools anymore. I gave them to him a long time ago. So this is my favorite app right here. It comes in handy. I don't have to go looking for a flashlight because I usually got my cell phone on me. The thing about it, though, is that this flashlight runs my battery and my cell phone down pretty quick. And so when I've used it quite often, I have to go and I have to plug it in to the power supply so that I can keep using my phone. All right? So if I don't plug it into the power supply, then my battery will die. My phone will die. It won't even turn on. Now the key to getting the best out of the phone and getting the best out of the flashlight to meet its fullest potential is to plug it into the power supply. And the more I work my phone, the quicker the battery goes down. Which means sometimes I got to plug it in, sometimes in the middle of the day. My kids, they have to plug theirs in 3 and 4 times a day. You may know what I'm talking about there. I don't know how many chargers they go through every 3 months. It's crazy. But they have the perfect example. See, the cell phone is much like our life. It's much like our life. God has called us to be the light to the world. Amen? We're to be salt and we're to be light. The brighter we shine His light, the more energy it uses. And if you don't know nothing about that, then you're not using enough energy in the kingdom. Because let me tell you something, on Sunday mornings, when I come in here and I preach, and then I prepare and I preach Sunday night, I'm telling you, I am exhausted by the end of the day. It's not that I do anything physical. It's not that I do anything strenuous. I don't run a marathon in between church services. But let me tell you, when you do the work of the Lord, and you exhaust the energy to shine the light, you will be exhausted. You will get tired. You will get worn down. And so when you do, you have to plug into the power supply. So when you shine His light, energy is used up, which means you have to stay plugged in to the power supply. In this war that is waging, even as I speak, you must stay plugged in to the power supply. Well, what is the power supply? Amen. Obviously, the power is Christ. It is Christ. And we see in verse 10, and the power of His might. That word His speaks of Christ. And so He is our power supply. You do not have enough power, nor do you have enough strength to stand up to the enemy that we war against. You don't have enough within yourself.